Welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits.
What's this hey there nonsense?
Coming to you from the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California.
It was indeed sunny today, wasn't it?
Still is. We're holding on.
Wait, no, the light's going. The light's fading, darling. It's, daylight savings.
Standard time.
Yes.
Hey, everyone. This is Liza, and that's the night the lights went out in Georgia.
What?
Vicky Lawrence.
Tell me you're old without telling me you're old.
Oh, God.
You know that song. Joining me in the studio is Miss Emma.
I've got no comeback for that whatsoever.
I'd like to do a little song lyric.
I mean, you're welcome to sing it if you want. Anyway,
The lights went down in Georgia.
That's the night they hung an innocent man. Right?
Yeah, maybe we should stay away from the singing.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's simply lovely to be here, darling. Simply lovely.
And also coming to us from sunny Velveeta, Oregon, it's Bagel.
Greetings from the cheesy Pacific Northwest.
Stumpy John is out today, and I didn't tell you the news from Naked Jim, but
there's news.
We have photos.
Yeah. I will share a photo of where Naked Jim is right now.
Oh dear.
Emma, describe the photo, because you have no story, just the photo.
Yeah, so in this photo, I am looking at a motorcycle that has been loaded into the back of a pickup truck, which is being loaded onto a flatbed trailer. So clearly Jim has broken his pickup truck.
And he's not anywhere like in a town. Describe the street.
There is no street. There's a lot of soil and an extremely large sky.
Very dry soil.
Yeah, very dry soil. Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. So we've got a bunch of stunt misfits joining us today.
Crash test dummies, say I.
When misfits aren't available, we've got plenty to pull from. So luckily, returning you've come so many times. It's Scott.
From Alameda. Hello, everybody.
Scott from Alameda, exactly. You've been a stunt misfit many times.
A bunch of times, and I'll be back for next week.
Oh, next week.
Oh, that's a big one, isn't it?
Because tonight is podcast 599.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So close.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. Joining you on the couch, Emma, you've got Zack.
Zackaroonie.
Yes, hello. Yeah, from Benicia.
Oh, lovely. Benicia, California.
Oh. Is the mothball fleet still in Benicia?
It is, yeah.
I know. I think it's quite small now. I remember when they probably had 100 ships moored out there.
I believe they're down to about 4.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Really? Wow.
So if you don't know, what happens is when the Navy is done with an active duty ship, they tow it out to Benicia and stick it there for a number of years, just in case they wanted to recommission it. And then it either went back into service or got towed around the corner to Mare Island in Vallejo and broken up.
I think they got back into service. That was where they went to be
dismantled. They got dismantled on Mare Island in Vallejo. Okay. It was kind of like a holding pen. Yeah.
Didn't they store a bunch of motorcycles on the mothball fleet, or was that just like a bullshit?
No, that was hearsay. The most exciting thing, and it might be before Zack's time, I think it was the battleship Iowa. Was in the mothball fleet for a very, very short time. That was probably about 25 years ago. And I remember seeing her get towed in. And if you actually see a battleship, they're really weird to look at because it's got this giant superstructure, but the hull is quite low to the water. So it looks like the hull is far too small for the rest of it. But of course, the majority is actually underwater. Amazing looking thing. But if it was either the Iowa or the Mighty Mo, the Missouri, but it was one of the big, big boys. And it was. And I saw it get towed in and towed out.
Also joining us tonight, it's Josh.
Hey, howdy, hey.
You haven't been here in a while.
It's been a few years since I was in studio.
Yeah.
I was here last October just hanging out outside.
So, and I wanted to say, Scott, thank you for, you've given me a new tool to use on the podcast. When we get too far off of motorcycles, we can always say, but wasn't there a motorcycle on it?
Happy to help.
It's just a good little tool. Good little tool. So, had a good day in the garage, helped some people, got some
we
things
did.
done.
And I think that, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. It's both today and, the world at large. And we can start with the world at large because I think it's as good a place as any to start. And there is an elephant in the room. And it was election week. It was election week this week, and we are going to get a new president. And one of the things I'm proudest of with the Misfits is that we have such a diverse group of people who listen to us and enjoy us. And I'm sure with the news of the president, probably half our listeners think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and half of our listeners don't. And my advice to you on both sides is, if you're feeling a little lost, if you're feeling a little bewildered, or you're not sure, spend some time with your motorbike. Now, here in California, we're very, very lucky because we can actually swing our legs over on bikes and ride them. But I understand that, if you're in the north or northwest or northeast.
I've heard that it does the same thing. If you just jump on in your garage and just make engine sounds with your mouth, it still gets the same
which
thing.
Which leads me to, if you're really not feeling very sure of yourself right now, go out in the garage and spend some time with your bike. Even if you can't ride it, lay your hands on it, clean it, polish it. Just give it a bit of love and give yourself a bit of love at the time. And remind yourself of who we are. And who we are really transcends who we vote for or who we want to see succeed and who we don't want to see. First and foremost, we love motorbikes. And that's what binds us all together. And in California, we're very, very lucky because we get to play with our motorbikes pretty much all year. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy your motorbike if you can't actually ride your motorbike. There's plenty of ways of spending quality time, and it will calm you, and it will center you, and you'll find it very, very comforting. And so that would be my advice.
This is really the perfect occasion for bringing your motorbike into the living room, right?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. I heartily endorse that behavior. Yeah. Now, spouses, significant others, wives, husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, might not be quite so enthralled with it.
Look, we all know when you bring the motorcycle in the house, you park it in the kitchen. So when it spills oil, it's easier to clean on the linoleum floor.
Well, you can actually use that oil to cook your breakfast bacon, and it gives it a nice smoky flavor.
Now, I'm going to say something controversial, Emma.
You can say what you want.
And, we've had many debates on this show. We've debated about the new Honda Super Cub. Is it a scooter or is it a motorcycle, right?
It's a scooter cycle.
We've debated things like the Polaris Slingshot. Is it a car or is it a three-wheeler, right? These are all good debates. So I'm just going to not even throw in a debate, but make a declaration as I do.
Is it a declaration of independence?
A declaration that the Jeep qualifies as...
No!
Hold on. As a motorcycle, in that I find... with the top down, and I'm not talking about anyone with a Jeep with a hard top on. I'm like, screw you. It doesn't count. Doesn't count.
Oh,
I'm talking about wind in the hair, rolling around in the Jeep. I get the same feelies as I do on a motorcycle. And on a Jeep, I can go all the same places, off-road, do anything. And on Wednesday, you're saying spend time with your bike. It'll make you feel better. You get the
endorphins.
Endorphins going. The endorphins in my Jeep. I went for a drive on the coast, watching the pelicans diving into the water and sitting in the sun. And I'm telling you, it checks all the same boxes as going for a ride does.
I'm going to stop this nonsense right now. Stop.
No, it's not up for debate.
I'm going to stop this nonsense right now.
I made a declaration.
The only reason any of us are cutting you any slack with that fucking Jeep is because your knees are still recuperating from surgery and you can't ride a bike. That is the only reason.
Emma, the beautiful thing about having the Jeep here today was I was helping fix somebody else's problems.
Yes.
And we were troubleshooting together. We found wires.
I pulled it around.
Using tools.
Exactly. I pull it around into the garage alongside all the bikes and re-wrench on it alongside all the bikes. It's checking all the same boxes.
And I'm glad you got to hang out together. You know, I glanced across while I was monkeying with a KTM, and I thought they looked like a perfect married couple.
I thought they were both channeling their inner MacGyver.
So, yes.
This is like we were talking about before. If you can't bring the bike into the living room, then fix something.
Right.
Just say, spend more time with your bike.
Spend more time with your bike.
Or Jeep.
No! Anyway, meanwhile, moving on to motorcycle-related podcasts, and if I could take this opportunity to remind everyone that a motorcycle has 2 wheels, not 4, or 3.
Hold on.
Or 3 in the case of an Icon.
Thank you.
Yes. A good exhibit of how one can overthink things happened today with, who is that charming young gentleman sporting a mustache that it looked like it belonged on Amelia Earhart's Navigator? Who is that young man with a KTM?
Oh, I forget his name.
Charming young man.
But can I quickly say that?
Yes.
TM. So what he had was a 990 Adventure.
Yes, but a later one with the EFI, not the carbureted
that
one.
I saw on Facebook Marketplace months ago.
Yes.
When I was looking for a project. And
he picked it up.
It was listed for $1,500.
That is a lot of bike for $1,500.
Was it 70,000?
Yep.
Miles. And runs, but has an unknown electrical issue. And I have electrical issues, and I was like, I don't really need a 990 Adventure, but for $1,500, I kind of want that. And I reached out to him, and apparently a lot of people did, because he responded with, I've had so many people interested in the bike, I've raised the price.
Oh.
And then nobody responded, and it stayed on Marketplace for months.
There you go.
And this young gentleman came back and offered him the $1,500.
The original.
And he finally accepted it. So he made an error.
In judgment.
And a lot of people just went, nope, see ya.
No, charming young man. And
so, yes, he was a recipient of that.
And what I wanted to exhibit is how one can overthink things. So he had a brutal oil leak on the right-hand side of the engine. And the right-hand side, left side, forgive me, as you sit on the bike, the left side. And the left side carries the generator, it carries chain and sprockets, which is a usual suspect on any KTM.
Look behind the sprocket.
Yeah, look behind the sprocket. I mean, KTMs are never happier than when they're pissing out oil behind the sprockets. Never happier. And so we did all this, or at least he did this. I was busy monkeying around with you. And he pulled the gearbox sprocket off and the chain and all that whatnot. And, of course, the seal was bone dry. So he looked a little despondent at that point. You know, the moustache was drooping at the corners.
I will say, I'm the one who said, all right, take all that off, look behind that. And then Emma, go check on him.
Yeah, right.
I handed it off. That was the depth of my abilities.
He was looking a bit despondent at that point. And I said, well, you know, there's a couple of things you need to remember, and this is valuable advice when you're tracing an oil leak. Oil does not bleed up. Oil does not bleed towards the front of the bike. So you need to look down and to the back. It's like it's like the JFK assassination. Down and to the rear, down and to the rear. So following that through, I said, well, look, you know, the whole side of the bike was covered in oil and it was pooling. Well, anyway, cut a long story short, it was all doom and gloom. And I said, hang on, there is a plug that covers the nut for the crankshaft in the generator casing. And I said, look, it's dry at the top and it's very, very wet with oil at the bottom. What's that all about? And he looks at it. He said, ooh. I said, check the O-ring. And he gets a wrench on it. It's finger tight.
Yeah.
And so I say, oh, okay. So we pull it off. Look at the O-ring. The O-ring's brand new and perfect, as indeed is the plug. So I suspect it being put on. So we just pop, gave it like a quarter turn, snugged it up. Oil tight.
And he had already figured out the electrical problem was the TPS sensor.
The toilet paper sensor?
Yep. Yeah, that was what the guy had. You get, I know, and I understand this, especially on bikes like KTMs. You get to your, like, the emotional end of the road. You just don't want to go any further. And it might be you're so close to the end, but I think the gentleman who had it had just gotten like, I give up. And it was something that was simple.
As it often is. And as you say, I mean, we all have these relationships with bikes, and you know, I've been very, very lucky over the years to have bikes that really give me very little trouble. And you know, I mean, a lot of it, yes, I try and maintain them well, but really for his age, Rufus has given me no trouble at all. I can abandon him for 3 months and then just jump on, he'll fire right up and zip down the road like nothing on earth.
Except for your insurance rates, you were saying.
It's a very funny bike. We were talking about insurance, and the two big players, of course, these days are Geico and Progressive. Now, of course, when I first came to California in 94, your really only choice was McGraw. And McGraw, which was underwritten by Lloyd's, was pretty much the only motorcycle insurer. And of course, you know, the big players have got involved. But I think it was you, Josh, who was saying that when you bought an MV Augusta, your insurance practically doubled, didn't it?
The new bike was thousands a year.
More.
And yeah. And then I when I got the bill, I bought the bike and I just threw it on my insurance.
Well, because that's what you do. You buy the bike, you call up your insurance. Oh, I need this on the thing.
Yeah. And then I actually started a couple days later, looked at it, how much it was going to be. And I just started price shopping, and it dropped well over $1,000 with double the coverage.
Right. And so
companies.
what happens is Geico and Progressive have a hit list of certain bikes that are expensive to insure. And I think you found out that the MV Augusta was on Geico's hit list, but not on Progressive's or vice versa.
You know, my KTM 990 cost me more than my Africa Twin did.
Right.
And I'm like, why? It's labeled as like a high performance sport bike.
This wasn't even a sport bike. It was their sport tour.
I know, but it's
it was
just labeled as.
I think it was a new model they didn't have any data on. So there was only a handful in the country, and so they were like, it's expensive, it's Italian, we're going to charge a ton.
I want to go sideways for a second on this. This is a whole topic that we're not going to do, but I just want to. This is something that is part of a much bigger picture with insurance companies and motorcycles. Mm-hmm. This is why so many dealerships are closing. This is why so many events are being shut down. This is why Ireland canceled its entire racing circuit.
Right.
Because insurance companies don't know anything about motorcycles and are biased that these are pleasure and dangerous and unnecessary.
Well, I don't think...
And a lot of times they are priced as such. Just to like
imagine if you lived in Canada where it is cost prohibitive to have an insurance on your bike.
I'm just saying that's what you're experiencing, and that's
well, to a certain extent,
happens.
a lot of insurance have figured out how to insure motorcycles and how to insure them profitably. But there's this hit list of bikes. And sometimes they're on one, sometimes they're on the other. I found out, which I was quite upset about, that my dear Rufus, the RF 900, is on both Geico and Progressive's hit list and is an extremely expensive bike to insure. And I think you just nailed the reason why, because there's so little information on it. It's such a rare bike and so few were made. They have no information. Well, it's big and scary looking, so we've got no information. We're going to charge a lot to insure it. But it's twice the amount to insure than the Harley. Twice.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Ridiculous. It is.
One of the cheapest bikes I had to insure was my Moto Guzzi V11. That was absolute peanuts to insure for an 1100cc bike. It's just, they practically paid me to ride it. And you found out when you dumped the Augusta and bought a Triumph, because you showed up on a very pretty Tiger 1050, didn't you?
The Augusta I sold years ago, and I wanted something I could do some light touring on weekends on. So I bought a Triumph Tiger just 3-4 weeks ago. I got a refund from my insurance company when I added it. They gave me money to put it on my insurance.
Nice. Well, Triumphs are quite reasonable to insure. And dang, that thing's pretty.
It's a great bike.
They really are.
There's another trick, too. There are times that I have kept motorcycles that I sold on my insurance plan because you get the multiple discounts. And when I dropped a bike, my rate went up. So there are times I've insured bikes I no longer owned.
It makes sense.
It's ridiculous.
No,
but it doesn't make sense. That's the point.
I put in the info, and they were like, and here's the price minus, so much money. And I'm like, wait, they're giving me money back to insure my bike. Okay.
Speaking of which, if anybody has the 50 state emission sticker for a Triumph 1050, you got to send it to us, a picture.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, so when you bring in a bike, there's a couple of little quirks if you want to bring in a bike to California. A used bike, that is. You can bring any used bike into California. If it's a 50-state bike, it can be of any age, any mileage. If it's a 49-state bike, you are allowed to bring it into California once it has done 7,500 miles or more.
Or, we all know the trick, right?
Even this is a 50-state bike, and they still want to see.
Right. But in either case,
yeah,
you have to have the emission sticker, and that's part of either the DMV or the CHP. Eric Estrada himself will look at the sticker and say that is an emission sticker. Yeah. So,
Emma, do you want to tell everyone what the trick is when the bike has less than 7,500 miles?
No.
Okay.
Because I don't.
It's not legal.
No. Yes, that's the trick.
I've bought a bike that way before.
Exactly. I don't condone illegal behavior on the Misfits. However,
just in Italy.
If you buy an out-of-state Harley-Davidson Superglide with no miles on it at all, and theoretically buy a speedometer off of eBay with 8,000 miles on it and attach that speedometer to it, take it for a DMV inspection, and then when it's passed its inspection, put the original back on. I mean, that would be theoretically a good way to get an out-of-state bike into California.
We would never do that.
The old drill method. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, but you put a little square bit in your drill and just...
That's assuming cable drive.
Yeah, but that is incredibly bad for the speedometer, by the way, because, you're basically asking your speedometer just to run hard for days, potentially.
We are so off topic. What were you talking about?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Overthinking a problem. So we were faced with a KTM that was pissing. There was pissing oil everywhere, and doom and gloom was the order of the day. But at the end of the day, it was just tweaking up an O-ring.
Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. Our 600th episode next week. So, an invitation is out there to all of our listeners who want to join us. All you have to do is go to our website, motorcyclesandmisfits.com. And right there on the homepage, you'll see a link to go and register to join us. And there's just a simple question, if you want to play games or not, because we're going to be giving away some pretty awesome prizes. And not everyone wants to play games, but those who do want to play, the reason I need you to register is because we're going to be putting those names into like a hat and be pulling them out as to how that's how we're going to fairly pick the players.
It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye.
But we've got some great prizes. We're going to be giving away some brake frees. You like that, Scott, right? Brake free lights for your helmet.
Helmet thing, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're giving away a ticket to the Misfits Rally, $400 value.
That's nice. A good time. I've been there.
Oh, yeah. How about 3 one-day rentals free at Twisted Road?
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so 3 people will get 1 free day of rental with no cap on the value. So you can get the most expensive thing available. This one's kind of cool. Our friend Wendy Crockett.
Wendy!
Who wrote the book with Ian.
Yes.
Well, he lives in Australia. She lives here. She's in Australia right now, so I asked her to please get both of them to sign a book and bring it back with her.
Nice.
So somebody is going to get a book signed by both of them, which is hard to do when they live on different continents.
Very and cool. Signed at the same time. Fantastic.
Yeah. And a bunch of other really cool stuff. A lot of our tour groups that we work with, Layout Escapes, Vintage Rides, and A Different Agenda, all have given us great discounts and freebies.
Yeah, so we got a lot of stuff to give away.
So join us next week for the 600th. Emma.
Hello.
You're all like hot and moist about some new engine.
Well, yeah, no. Yes, but no, but. Yeah, but. Yeah, but no, but. Listen, it's something I've been saying for a long time, and I love being proved right because I'm like that.
You did that to me in the garage today, something about Mickey Mouse. You were so pleased. You shoved your phone in my face with the evidence.
And you were so pleased. So, yeah, exactly. Mickey Mouse was not designed by Walt Disney. Mickey Mouse was designed by Uber Iwerks, who was basically Walt's best friend.
Who?
Uber. Well, he changed his name from UBBE to UB.
Uber.
But it was Uber Iwerks. He invented Mickey Mouse. And the reason why Mickey Mouse looks like he does, he's all circles. So he's very easy to animate. And if you see early Mickey Mouse, like Steamboat Willie from 1928, he's very, very rudimentary. And your guy, who was...
Ward Kimball really made him a lot more human-like. So if you see the Uber Iwerks Mickey Mouse, he's very, very rudimentary, and he kind of looks like a mouse. Ward Kimball, who I met in person.
Yeah, and then Ward made him far more humanoid.
Scott, this is where you... Is there a bike in that?
I was going to ask where the motorcycle was.
Yeah.
And you were the one talking about a Jeep. Is there a bike in that?
Well, I've seen Mickey Mouse ride a motorcycle.
All right.
Anyway,
so what's up with this engine?
So look, Ducati.
Have you ever owned a Ducati?
Yes.
Which model?
750 GT.
Oh, okay.
1974, I think. Mine
purple?
Was.
What color was it?
It was metal flake orange and black.
Something crazy, I figured.
Yeah, it was stock paint, but the first V-twin Ducati.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a nice old thing.
V-twin or L-twin?
Well, they're all L-twins. They're all included angle of 90 degrees.
I know, but if you talk to Ducatista, they always correct you, say L-twin.
Yeah, that's because they're full of shit. However, I have been saying for a long time that Ducati don't really need Desmodromic valve gear. Desmodromic valve gear is a marvelous, marvelous invention. And basically what it is, just to recap very, very quickly, it requires no valve springs because the valve is opened mechanically and closed mechanically. And back when it really became a performance upgrade in the 1950s with the Mercedes-Benz 300, it needed it because these were high-revving engines and valve springs weren't able to cope with the high revs. Well, times have moved on and valve spring material has gotten very, very good. However, Ducati have hung on to Desmodromic valve technology because it's kind of part of the identity. It's like Kawasaki Lime Green. It's Ducati Desmo.
It's also great for selling service.
Right. Well, it's expensive for selling service. So anyway, they've come out with this new engine, a new V-twin, which is a very nice little engine. And it's got I say it's got conventional valve gear. It's got valve springs in it. But they've jumped on the variable valve timing bandwagon. Okay. So it's got cam phasers in it, which is, everybody's doing it now. You can buy a Honda lawnmower with variable valve timing now. This is how common it's becoming.
Emissions.
Well, it's emissions, and it is quite favourable from a power delivery standpoint, because at lower RPM you can retard the intake cam timing. No, you can retard it and get the charge in a little bit earlier, which will give you better torque. But then as the revs go up, you bring an advance into it, and it actually sharpens it up and increases the valve overlap. And it's lovely at higher RPM. So it's a desirable thing to have if you can perfect it. But, the reality is it often goes wrong. And
are they going to fix that broken clutch sound?
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
So, listen, so here we are. Let's have a look at some of the specs of this thing. Ducati themselves aren't giving a power output of this bike. So we're going to speculate. I think some people have decided they know what it's going to pump out. But hang on, allow this time. There we go. So it's 890cc, so it's 900cc, which is a very, very fashionable cc at the moment. And I'm a huge advocate of 900s. I like them. They make good power. It's no secret Rufus is a 900. You get pretty much all of the advantages of a litre bike. And yes, they do not have the ultimate power. But dang, it's a good rider who can use a litre bike on the street. So, 120 pounds this engine weighs. That is nothing. 54.4 kilograms. And it is 20 pounds lighter than the previous Super Quattro, which is the 4-valve engine, and 12.7 pounds lighter than the Testastrada Evoluzione and the Desmodromic that's on the Scrambler. So, it's power to weight's the name of the game. It really is. And it's not a pretty engine. Ducati do not make pretty engines. They make...
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I'm like, it looks more like a piece of equipment that go on a...
Yeah, and Ducati's...
NASA.
Anytime you liquid cool, though, you lose the aesthetics.
Right.
You cannot look at that. There's nothing defining as an engine. I'll say like a Harley, right? It's an engine.
Yeah.
This looks like wreckage from, I don't know.
Chernobyl. Oh, look what we found at the bottom of the Chernobyl reactor.
No, it is not recognizable.
Yeah, but they're going to drape it, a pretty motorcycle around it. So it's 90-degree architecture, and as Josh says, we will make that an L twin. Intake variable timing. Thanks to I'm reading this straight off the Ducati website. Thanks to the intake variable timing system, the new Ducati Twin delivers very linear torque right from low RPM with a prompt and exciting. Are you excited, Josh?
I'm most
throttle
excited.
Response and sports performance at high RPM. This is because the IVT system, that's intake variable timing, intervenes by progressively varying the timing of the intake across a 52-degree range. So that is quite a range.
Did you see what the valve clearance check is at 30,000 kilometers?
So that's 18,000 miles.
Now,
that is a huge advantage.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about...
Because what is it on the XR650R? 5,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk a little bit about the overall experience of riding a bike. And...
A bike in general? Or
just
Ducati?
It's going to dovetail into that. And I saw this many, many times when I worked at the Ducati dealer. And Ducati eventually had to recognize it themselves. And actually, they had this fantastic chart on the wall with upfront service pricing. Because what was happening is you'd get people clutching their hard-earned dollars and walking into the dealership and saying, I want a Ducati, because they were seduced by all that beautiful red bodywork. And so they bought the thing and rode it and pronounced it the best bike they'd ever had, because it probably was. But then came time for the big service. And that monstrous bill for belts and Desmo service. And it really came as an absolute body blow to a lot of owners. And you've really got to factor that in to the overall customer satisfaction. I'm very much reminded of Honda V4s. And Honda V4s, you take the VFR series with the gear-driven cams, just absolutely wonderful bikes. They're just amazing, amazing bikes. And the performance and the sound and blah, blah, blah. And then they were replaced with a bike with chain-driven cams. And Honda said, well, we're going to compensate for the gear-driven cams. We're going to give you variable valve timing now. And we're going to use this with the oil pressure system. And so when the oil pressure, the new cams open. But that gave you more to do during service time. So service costs jumped, I think, 70%. And so, it's...
But at what price? At better performance? I mean,
well, yes.
Everyone,
you got that nice kick in the pants when
if you have
the
a BMW or a KTM or Ducati, you're paying for that performance.
Has anyone owned a VFR in here?
Yes,
I have. I had the VTEC VFR. I put 70,000 miles on it. I had the valves inspected one time,
and they were all within spec.
And they were all within spec at 30,000 miles.
So you're saying you can have,
and I kept writing it until I sold it with 100,000 miles on the clock. And I never needed it.
They are
never missed a beat.
Amazing bikes. Yeah. They really are. And you get that nice kick in the pants. But if you were to follow the service schedule on that bike as prescribed by Honda, it's a very, very expensive bike to service.
And I looked at that when I bought it. And I was looking at all the people in the VFR owners clubs, and they were like, these things are so bulletproof.
Right.
They're like, have them inspected, and if they're in spec, don't worry about them
down the road.
Again. And I never had any valve noise at 100,000 miles.
Well, generally, they do tend to get small rather than big, so you don't hear your valves going. But they're great bikes. And I want to make that clear. I think the point I'm trying to make is cost of service has to be part of the overall experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Desmodromic valve service is expensive and quite frequent as well. So one of the advantages of Ducati going to valve spring system, so now we have 18,000 miles between valve clearance checks. And so ultimately that's got to keep the service costs down, which is going to improve customer satisfaction. I mean, it's a whole package.
So you can have it both ways then.
Theoretically.
Yeah. I do think other Ducatis have had that long of a service interval for the valves. They're still Desmo valves, and they're still more expensive to service.
There's been a couple. Generally, the higher performance the engine,
the shorter the interval.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you'll find some of the lower, I think the Superbike, which is a slightly lower power output for its size, has a longer period.
I believe the Multistrada has a longer service interval.
Because it's generally tuned down, but they're still damn expensive bikes.
Yeah. So you're talking all shim under bucket too, right?
No. But they're kind of weird because there's very much a sequence to do. When you're doing Desmodromic valves, you've got to pull rockers and then you've got to support valves. And oftentimes, if you're faced with a clearance that's too tight, you've got to figure out a clearance that's too big to put an undersized shim in. Mm-hmm. Figure out the clearance with an undersized shim and then measure it and do your calculation and put a zero clearance shim in it. So it's very, very time consuming.
I'm thinking about my GS 1200 where, this is a 2009 and it's a screw and nut kind of adjuster. And so, the interval 6,000 miles, which is how often they tell you to change the oil.
Right.
But it's easy to do by myself, but it's frequent.
Right.
Compared to the shim type adjusters where, sure, you got to have a stack of shims and all that stuff. It's a little bit more work with the cam.
But they do stay in.
Exactly.
Now, funnily enough, I just did, because I built the engine from scratch, I just did the shims on my Suzuki GS 850. But these are big shims. These are 29.5 millimeters diameter. I mean, they look like little coins. Took me 20 minutes.
I was going to say, you could put them in the parking meter.
Yeah, but it took 20 minutes. You don't even have to pull the cams because it's shim on bucket, and there's a little tool which looks like a hooked thing, and you turn it and push the valve down, and then you just flip the shim out with a pair of tweezers, read it, do your calculation, put the correct one in, turn it over. 20 minutes. I've done all 8. So fantastic. We need more of that, please.
Yeah. I got that little Ducati 696, and they say it's like $2,000 for the service interval coming up at 15K, and so I'm like,
that is a hit.
Yeah.
That is a hit for a 700cc bike. So we'll have to look at the service schedule for this new engine. Yep. But I must admit, I think it's a step in the right direction. And I'm really excited, and we can talk about the Honda V3 as well, that we're still working on internal combustion power. Yeah. We're still developing new internal combustion power because it's very, very easy. And I think we've kind of, I don't know if we've hinted at it in the past, but, on my gloomy days, I said, well, nobody's going to be spending R&D on internal combustion anymore. And I think that's simply not true. I think there's still a huge market for it. I think it's going to be around for a long, long time to come. Obviously, as an alternative, because electric propulsion is front and center, whether we like it or not. I think electric propulsion is going to have a choppy ride in the next few years, and we'll talk about that a little bit further. But I'm just thrilled that they're developing new internal combustion engines.
Yeah, that is exciting too, because I felt also that there was a point where a lot of companies are saying we've reached the end of internal combustion engines.
Oh no, there's always more. And then you get people like Hyundai come out with variable stroke engines. I mean, what?
Is this like the Atkinson cycle one?
It's kind of more. It's a variable stroke engine.
Is that what Jim was talking about the other? He's always talking about variable strokes.
Oh no, that's it. That's his Saturday night.
So,
however, no, if you eat enough processed meats and you don't exercise and you generally smoke too much and drink too much alcohol, I think you have a variable stroke varying from having a little twitch to destroying the whole one side of your body and having your eye down by your mouth somewhere.
Well, I think that this topic perfectly segues into our next segment, which I call Do We Care? And this is a lot of news in the motorcycle industry right now that I want to share with everyone and ask people, do we care? And
Bagel's going to get a Woody over one of these. I know, I can tell.
Maybe.
Maybe you got one now.
I do not want to see any variable strokes.
Right. What's that hand doing, Bagel?
All right, simmer down. So a lot of news is coming out of EICMA recently, where a lot of new things are unveiled.
Yes.
And Honda has revealed an innovative going back to the electronically blown V3 motor. Is that John? Jim was talking about this too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being electronically blown by the vacuum cleaner.
So
this robotic technology is going overboard.
No, I'm very, very excited about this.
So what they were showing is a 75-degree water-cooled 3-cylinder unit arranged in a V configuration.
2 in the front, 1 in the back.
With an electric compressor in place to provide compressed intake air, which is a first in the world of motorcycling.
Absolutely, you bet.
And in fact, what's interesting is to power that motor for the compressed air, it'll have a second battery just for that.
Right. And what I like about the motor, so let's talk about forced induction for a moment. and very, very briefly, we've talked about this many, many times in the past. So basically, your engine sucks in air fuel mixture, combusts it, throws it out the exhaust, tra-la-la, everything's gas and gators. If you want to make more power, if you shove the engine, if you kick the air fuel mixture in with a heavy boot, you can get more power. So you're pushing it in. Now, this is achieved by means of turbocharging, which is a turbine that's spun by the exhaust, and then there's another turbine which basically pushes the air fuel mixture in. That's number one. And that's a good system because it is dependent on the exhaust pressure. Theoretically, if you're in a very high demand situation, you're going up a hill, you're giving it plenty of welly on the throttle, and there's big pulses coming out the exhaust, it's giving you more power.
I'm looking at this motor. It literally looks like they attached a hairdryer to the head of it.
It says Clairol. It says Clairol on it. So, but the second is supercharging, and supercharging does the same thing. It pushes the air fuel mixture in, but this is mechanically driven, most commonly with a belt to the crankshaft, but a lot of bikes like the Kawasaki H2 have an internal gear drive. That's advantageous because it doesn't suffer from lag, which a lot of the turbocharged bikes do. And the lag is simply when you open the throttle, you have to wait a millisecond or a second before the power comes in. And let me tell you, it is terrifying. Not necessarily when you're winding it on, but when you shut the throttle off and your brain and wrist are saying, stop, stop, stop. And the bike is going, no, 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 I want to go. And it's like, oh, fuck. And then everything just spools down. And it's better than it used to be, but nevertheless. So having an electric turbocharger, you've got complete control over it because it's independent of the engine.
So it doesn't have to spool up.
It doesn't have to, and it can be completely on.
Yeah.
So you're saying, like, for those of us with sleep apnea, it's like the CPAP machine for your engine?
Yeah, basically.
Exactly.
And as Liza pointed out, it looks exactly like a hairdryer.
Now, here's what's interesting. They're showcasing this engine. They're not stating the power output or the CCs, but they did say it will be the base for a lineup of new models, the first which will most likely be a roadster. What?
So what do we know? Yes, Bagel.
Well, I was just going to say that I don't think this is something that's necessarily new, though. I remember seeing some videos about 15 years ago on YouTube where somebody stuck an air blower onto a scooter motor and did kind of the same thing.
Oh, yeah. And in fact, there's a show on TV called, oh, God, who are they? There are the...
Gas Monkey.
No, not Gas Monkey, but it's in that vein. They're Roadkill. And they got Roadkill Garage, and they got an old Chevy Vega, I think, with a V8 engine in it, and put like 10 leaf blowers feeding the intake. And I mean,
I think I did see that.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of worked to a certain extent. I mean, obviously, this is a lot more refined.
I'm sure, yeah.
But
and tuned specifically for that engine's needs.
Right, exactly. I mean, forced induction is the name of the game, and some engines respond extremely well to it. You'd be very, very hard pressed to find a diesel without a blower on it these days. They respond very, very well to turbocharging.
The question is, do we care?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what this Roadster, new Honda Roadster.
Well, I was going to say that term Roadster to me indicates naked, sort of almost like a cafe racer look. I don't know.
It's funny to put it in a Roadster because, efficiency is boring and range are exciting.
Yeah. Roadster.
So, yeah, that's interesting. Now, on the same vein.
Liza, would you describe yourself as a Jeepster?
That's a model name, isn't it?
I think you can describe me as anything with stir at the end. Put that at the end of anything.
Okay, very
Yeah,
good.
that fits.
Carrying on.
All right. Here's another. Do we care? CF Moto reveals a V4 engine and teases a 1,000cc superbike. 209 horsepower V4 will power a future WSBK competition bike.
Here.
Yeah.
Wow. CF Moto, though, I don't know. I want to care more. God, I'm so cynical about the Chinese manufacturers, even the good ones, though. I just...
Time will tell.
Josh, you remember Yumbos as training bikes?
Mm-hmm.
The Yumbo Magic, how these damn things would not start, and they're unfixable because they'd change out parts in the middle of a model run, and you didn't know what you're going to be working on. But now, the stuff's getting better.
Yeah, I mean it is, and I, as Liza pointed out, I mean CF Moto are building a lot of engines for other people.
Yeah,
KTM.
Yeah, KTM.
They have to meet KTM standards.
And I'm pretty sure CF Moto make the crankcases for those BMW 900s that you enjoy so much, Josh.
Do you mean KTM that had that huge engine recall?
Yes, those guys.
Okay.
So, it's a tentative yes from me, and it's the same. It boils down to the same thing. We're developing new internal combustion engines, and that makes me very excited. It's from China, so
the shakeup of the global hierarchy is really interesting because it used to be the premium stuff was made here, British, and then the Japanese came up, right?
Right.
And then my son Ben's little CB 500F was a made in Taiwan bike.
Yes,
but for a little 500 like that, it was great, right? But now we're talking a leader bike coming from China. And it's like, well, that who's making the big motors is kind of shifting. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how they pan out. I mean, I remember we were all absolutely peeing the bed over this Flat 8 Goldwing thing. Haven't heard a word about it.
All right. So
if they're going to compete in World Superbike, they're going to have to do some decent R&D. To get it competitive and reliable to run a season.
Right, exactly. And I mean, Aprilia have been working at it, and now they're getting the dividends.
Well, and they've been doing well in World Superbike for a long time. It's just in the U.S., they don't have a big dealership network to support their bikes.
So do we care?
It's interesting.
Tentatively, yes. I'm not all in.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, what if I told you there's another company that has developed a new cutting-edge motor that now has 25 horsepower.
Wow. That's a lot of horses.
In the new Vespa 310.
Down, Bagel.
Do we care?
Down. Sweep.
Let me rephrase this question. Bagel, tell us, do we care? Why do we care, Bagel? Why do we care?
Well, for starters, this is now the most powerful Vespa of all time.
Yeah, and just to clarify, the Vespa 300 is actually a 278cc.
Right.
And now this is going up to 310.
Yeah, this is a legitimate 310 cc's.
There's real power now.
Right. So they recently, the engine was actually first unveiled for the MP3. It was the MP3 310 just recently. It represents an 11.5% increase in displacement, where the bore is the same. It's still a 75 millimeter bore, but they've increased the
They stroked it. Okay.
Yeah, they've stroked it from 63 to 70 millimeters.
I bet you're stroking it now, aren't you?
That's a big stroke difference, I gotta say.
Bagel's big stroke.
Bagel, do you feel they're doing this to bring it compliant with Euro emissions to keep making it?
That is part of what the update is for, because this bike is Euro 5 plus standard compliant. And it's more efficient than ever before, cleaner than ever before.
And I do want to say, just for people who aren't really scooters, who've never even ridden a scooter, the Vespa 300 is a legitimate bike.
Oh, it moves.
I mean, I was on my KTM 990 trying to catch up to you on the freeway, in the middle of the desert going, how did he get it? What? And you're just hauling.
What horsepower jump is that? How much more, Bagel?
I don't recall what it was previously. I want to say it was, because there's the previous HPE engine. I think it was like 21, maybe something like that. I don't recall off the top of my head.
I'm going to go so far to say is Bagel's scooter is more capable on the freeway than my Jeep.
I'm just imagining you doing like the Triumph Rocket 3 burnouts on the little Vespa.
So is this big news in the scooter world, Bagel?
I think it is. This is for a long time, people who have done like me, who have done long distance Vespa riding, have kind of complained that the bikes are good, but they could bump them out a little bit more. They could increase the displacement a little bit more, and a lot of other little improvements that this bike has too, which I think is very interesting. Now, I will say that the frame and the basic platform is not changed. This is largely a change to the engine. And the engine has 70% new components. It's basically been largely redesigned from what it was before. And stuff like new injectors. It's got a tilted cylinder, a new starting system, different crankcase design, things like that. But it also has a new ECU, a new fuel injector. And the ECU also manages all of the safety and assistance functions like traction control and ABS.
Wow.
It has a new catalyzed exhaust system with 2 lambda sensors, which helps keep it clean. It has also, which is very important, a new seat that's supposed to be a lot more comfortable. And this is probably one of the things that I like the most about this bike. I mean, maybe aside from the engine displacement, because that sounds like a lot of fun. But having a new, more comfortable seat is a game changer, because the GTS traditionally has not had a very comfortable seat. Like, you could take riding for maybe an hour or two, but after that, your ass really starts to hurt. So, and I have not tried this yet, so I can't speak from personal experience. But if it is as good as some people have been hyping it up to be, I'm very interested in how this new seat's going to turn out. The bike also has LED lights all around. It's got a USB charger finally. And it has a number of different options. In addition to windshields, it's got an optional heated grip system, heated seat, a rear luggage rack, and a front fender guard.
What's the wheel size on that, Bagel?
It's a 12-inch bike.
Okay.
And so the basic layout is the same platform, but it's a lot of internal improvements that I think is going to make this an all-around much better bike. I'm hoping, I don't know for sure, but I'm hoping that with the new ECU that they have finally gotten rid of the speed limit control, where if you remember hearing me talk about the HPE engine when it first came out, the GTS originally had an RPM limiter. So you'd hit certain 9,000 RPMs, it would cut you off, and it would just kind of bump up against that. It wouldn't let you go any faster. When they came out with the HPE engine, they put a speed limiter on there that when you hit 80 miles an hour, it wouldn't just stop you from going any faster. It would penalize you and knock you down to 78. And then you had to climb back up to 80 without trying to go any faster than 80. So it wouldn't
Not
kick
cool,
you down.
man.
That's kind of un-American is what that is.
Right. So I'm hoping that they will they've gotten rid of that once and for all with this new engine. I have no idea, but we'll find out, I guess, once I get a chance to ride one.
I'm thinking about the 13-inch wheels and the better seat. And, we came in on Swanton Road today, which maybe you remember from when you were down here. Oh, yeah. It's bumpy as hell. We were making Zack fly out of the seat on his FC6.
Is that the Swanton Road that received complaint? Yes!
The views are amazing. Anyway, I was talking yesterday with one of my son's friends about he used to rock a scooter in SF, and you get in a city like that in an urban environment, you can go anywhere, and it's just so easy. But to make it something more freeway capable and more like, hey, you can commute across the bridges, you can do interstate. That's a game changer.
Oh yeah, and I mean, even the 250s were capable of all of that, and that's my Cannonball bike, so 250. I've ridden that through 49 states. But having the extra displacement and a lot of these extra features is going to make it a lot more comfortable and easier to get around with. So I think this is for improvements to the existing platform. I think that they've done a really good job from what I've read. I really would like to try this out and see how it feels.
So cool. To the room, do we care?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I care. And Emma, it goes back to all of these. I think that there's a common thread here that we know that a lot of companies, including Vespa, are investing into electric technology.
Right.
But it's really nice to see that they're still investing in ICE engines and refining and making them even better.
And I'm excited because it makes Bagel happy. And if it makes Bagel happy, it makes Emma happy.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, and I'm excited for the longer stroke.
Look how red he is. He looks like a freaking lobster right now.
Bagel, can you show me how long that stroke is?
The stroke, it's about this long. You know, it's about 6 inches.
Oh God! No, you should not. It's 12 inches, but you don't use it as a rule.
And Liza, it's liquid cooled too.
God Almighty!
You thought he was red before.
Moving on.
But I will say on the electric part, I have not heard anything more from Piaggio lately about electric bikes. I'm really, really hoping that they will come out with a big electric scooter at some point, because I think that would be a game changer. I really
more
do.
About that. But on to our next. Do we care? So Suzuki, they have announced that the DRZ 400S and the M are getting updates. They're now getting fuel injection. Yeah, that's
the Sado and the Masochism.
Injection.
Yeah, fantastic.
They're catching up to the KLR.
Well, you know, it's about time. Look, let's talk a little bit about DRZ 400s. DRZ 400s have had a choppy ride over the years. They originally were brought in to replace the DR 350, which was an incredibly well-loved little bike from Suzuki. Everybody loved DR 350s because they made great power, they were light, they were maneuverable. The old kickstart ones were notoriously hard starting, but very rewarding if you knew how to get them going. And then the electric start ones were just fabulous little bikes. And then along came this dumpy, overweight, liquid-cooled, slower, chunkier replacement everywhere. But over the years, and God, it is a long-running bike, it's really won so many hearts. And they are stout little bikes. They do everything well. You want to ride on the street, it's great. You want to ride in the dirt, it's great. You want to dress it up, you want to dress it down, you want to put a friggin' milk crate on the back. They're just great all-round bikes. And they've made a lot of money for Suzuki over the years. And I'm going to stick my neck out. I think it was the first Japanese factory motard.
I think you might be right. I'll tell you some other upgrades which sound pretty cool. Because now it's going to have the ride-by-wire throttle. It'll give you 3 throttle maps. A being the most aggressive and C offering the softest response.
Yeah.
There's also 3 levels of traction control.
Okay.
One of which is a gravel mode that allows some level of wheel slip.
Okay.
And I believe it's not mentioned here, but I thought I heard also that it's getting ABS that you can disable. I might be wrong. I might be wrong on that.
So you're probably getting more power, more efficiency out of the injection, right?
But you're getting the different. That's nice that you can kind of tune it to the type of riding you're doing.
The DRZ sells very, very well in Europe. So hey, Euro 5. I don't see how you would ever get a carburetted bike through Euro 5. And I mean, you asked a very, very valid question, is why would you have a carburetted bike in 2024 or 25? The answer is cheapness. That's the only reason.
Well, so I've got a bunch of buddies in OMC, Oakland Motorcycle Club, who like to ride the DRZ.
Yes.
And if you throw that bike under the deck and you bring it out twice a year, and you don't drain that carburetor first, you're probably going to have carburetor problems.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to guess the injection is more immune to that with a less frequently used bike.
It's far more immune. Unfortunately, the repercussions of neglect are far worse, and you do get them. I've had to do fuel system rebuilds on a couple of fuel-injected bikes, and it's a pain in the ass because you've got to pull the tank, pull the pump out of the tank, clean everything out, clean out the fuel hoses. Then you've got to pull the injector, and you've got to actually power up the injector. And I use a little D-cell battery for that
injector pump thing,
you know. And you actually open the injector, and then you blow through backwards, and blow the crud out of it. Because what happens is you've got the fuel hose coming back, and it's pushing fuel in at about 40 psi, and then any crud in that line just gets rammed into the back of the injector before it can come out. But generally, they are far more resistant to hanging around than carbureted bikes.
I'll tell you how I feel about this. I think that the DRZ, like many models that last a long time, like the KLR or the Kawasaki Concourse, they were amazing when they came out. They were the best bang for the buck. Just rock solid reliability, performance. You have it all in one package. And usually what companies will do is don't change anything. And then you get this bike that then becomes a little bit antiquated, but it still was ahead of its time. So now you've just got an affordable bike, easy to maintain, parts are plentiful.
Right.
And so when you upgrade, it's like, oh, well, but you had a really good thing. I guess it's finding that balance when you got to give up. And I'm guessing that they have to upgrade it now to stay competitive with all the other bikes.
And a perfect example of that is the Suzuki GS500, the venerable goose.
Or the CF Moto, the 450 that's coming out that has all the things. I'm thinking that Suzuki has to try and compete with that.
Yeah, I think so.
You know?
But I think Suzuki in the back of their mind, I mean, if we scrutinize the GS500 again, you know, those twins were really innovative bikes when they first came out, and they were ahead of their time in terms of reliability and power output and all the things. And then, you know, they just went through phases and incarnations, and it became a very, very cost-effective bike that kind of held its own, and then it became a little bit old-fashioned. And then it just hung around long after its sell-by date. And it became, you know, a bit of a joke amongst motorcycling, which is really not deserved because they're great bikes.
I'll tell you, in this case, I really don't care because I think that the DRZ 400, it's current, you know, the old one, is still keeps up with everything today, and it's still an amazing bike.
Well, so hold that thought until you ride the new one, because I think riding a fuel-injected DRZ with a ride-by-wire throttle system, as much as I don't approve of them, I think it's going to wake it up.
All right. What do you guys think? Do you care?
I think it keeps it still a relevant bike when emission standards come in and just say you can't have this anymore. It keeps it still so people can buy new versions of it. Keeps it on the road.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, with the gas bikes from China increasing in displacement and sophistication and market presence, they have to.
Yeah, but when you keep a bike in production without change, the price stays down.
Agreed. But if your emission standards become so stringent that it's either innovate or die, you have to innovate.
And that's where a lot of us are with Euro 5.
Yeah.
You know, Euro 5 is very, very stringent. Water cooling, gotta have it. Fuel injection, gotta have it. Catalytic converter, gotta have it. You're simply not going to pass Euro 5 without it. And there are ways around it. You can increase the capacity of the bike. You can increase the power of the bike. So at the end of the day, at the rear wheel, it's the same amount of power. You can invent new systems to get the emission down. But it's keeping internal combustion bikes on the road. And that's got to be a good thing.
A weight question and complexity question for you, Emma. So now we're adding a CAT, we're adding O2 sensors, the injection, you know, I don't know if it's a difference in weight compared to the carb.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's marginal, but you're talking ounces. And it's all proven technology.
Yes.
So I don't think, I'll look at the numbers. I haven't had a look at the numbers. You might find it's a couple of pounds more, but the improved performance and the improved drivability is going to offset any increase in weight.
Zach, do you care?
I do not care. No. But I mean, I've had my struggle with carbs in the past. Fuel efficiency with EFI is great, but for the little bikes, it's not really a big deal for me.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I almost wish they would have just launched a new machine to be competitive with like the Tenere, like the Tenere, all that kind of stuff, the mid-size bikes, and left the DRZ alone.
I will reserve. I don't think that was an option.
Okay.
I don't think. I really think it reached the end of the road.
Well, now we're getting into a whole new vein of do we care, and there's going to be a common thread in these. The first one up, our own motorcycle company from town, Zero Motorcycles. They made a big announcement. This is pretty big. Bagel's like, oh, what? Oh, I can see he's like cheering up. They made an announcement that they've got a new campaign to draw in more riders. It's called the All Access Plan. And they're going to be developing 6 new motorcycles, all priced under $10,000.
Wow.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 3.
If the plan will be 6. They've unveiled 2 right now. Actually.
Okay.
The first one, it basically looks a lot like a Suron. And it's interesting because if you actually go back to the roots of Zero, they started out as a little dirt bike for a couple reasons, but the first one being that you didn't have to get all the compliance, all that stuff on the street. You didn't have to deal with a lot of the DOT stuff for a dirt bike, especially electric. No sparks, anything, right? That was how they got their foot in the door, was building an off-road bike. So now they're going back to those roots, and it's just a little 2.4 kilowatt battery. And it's a very small, again, like a Suron. Let's see, there's pricing at around $4,200, I think. And then the second one looks a lot like
Christmas?
No, what does that look like to you?
That looks like a Honda Grom to me,
It looks
Liza.
a lot like a Honda Grom.
That looks like a lot like a Honda Grom.
Really?
And in fact, I've ridden a bike much like this from another electric company.
Oh, Richard Hatfield's Lightning.
Yeah, the Strike, I think he was calling it.
No, the Strike is the kind of entry-level super bike. I think it's the
Strike was the sport bike. That was like,
I forget.
600
This is
cc
not
comparable.
anything that has gotten through yet, but he has some that he's been playing with and trying out that he let us ride. But it looks like Zero's beating him to market. And
wow.
So this is as exciting or not exciting as you want to make it.
And also I want to add,
yes,
all of these models these are all coming out of a partnership with the Chinese company Zhongshan.
Zhongshan.
So we're going back
That's
to
not
China
surprising.
too. So that are helping them to make it affordable. So the goal here with Zero, and I think, is to get more people onto electric because there's a barrier to entry. For a lot of people, it's price. I mean,
right.
Josh, you have an Energica.
I have an Energica.
How much?
Correct.
How much did that cost?
It was over 20.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
A good, decent bike that will compare to any of our street bikes. You're facing over 20 just to get the batteries, right?
It's a big upfront price, but the cost of ownership down the road is significantly cheaper.
And there are a lot of companies that are saying that they have electric bikes under 10 grand. A lot of them are trying to hit that goal.
Right.
A lot of them coming down to China. And a lot of times I kind of ignore these announcements because it's just another little small
They're city bikes. They
city bike with
max out at 30 miles an hour and have like 5 miles of range.
And a hub motor. That's all the way you get it affordable. I don't care about those because there's so many of them. Yeah. But this is kind of cool that they're going back to dirt bikes and with this whole like Suron trend. So it's kind of interesting.
The reason why I'm kind of holding back a little bit Zero or not, it's still going to be Chinese quality. And I think Zero is staking a great deal on brand loyalty. And I'm not sure if there is any anymore. I think people in the old days, you're a Honda guy, I'm a Suzuki gal. It was very, very important. I think now people are just like, I like that bike, I'm going to buy it. And I think if you are getting somebody on an electric bike for under 10 grand, well, that's all gas and gaiters. But do you think those people graduate to a larger Zero? I don't necessarily
I think it's the use case,
so.
Emma. No. Like we were talking about outside. I mean, you look at, Matt Spears' YouTube, Hill Climbing on a Hayabusa, and he was pumping the Stark Varg, tested that on his show, really liked it. And Fortnine, he was ripping through, the woods, three guys that were looking at a small gas bike, human-powered bicycle, and one of these electric dirt bike kind of things. And he really liked it, too.
Can I remind you that people are paying these prices for a mountain bike?
Oh, yeah.
Or even for an e-bike, like an electric pedal kind of bike. Yeah. You're right in that same sweet spot.
So, I'm reminded of a very, very dear friend of mine. He has a classic car restoration business in Monterey. Mm-hmm. And he has a couple of clients who have very, very high-end bikes, and they usually end up in my workshop because it's simply not worth him tying up one of his Ferrari or Maserati guys. And then, the bike comes over to me and I'll do a contract. Anyway, I digress. He has a cabin in the mountains, and for many, many years, he had two beautiful Honda CT90s, a matching pair.
Nice.
And just gorgeous little bikes.
Yeah.
But every year they needed the carbs building, and every year they needed a new battery, and every year they were a bit recalcitrant when it came to starting them. So in the end, he said, look, I'm done with them. Fix them up for me. Let's put them on. I want to say you put them on Bring a Trailer, but he got great money for them.
Yeah.
And he bought a couple of Surons.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we've got to do is we've got to approach this as somebody who's not necessarily into motorcycles. And he said, look, the Surons are quieter, smoother, easier to manage, cheaper to both buy and run than the gas-powered ones. They always start. They always get us where we want to go. We see and hear so much more in the forest and the mountains because the bikes themselves are largely silent. And this is compared to a CT90.
Mm-hmm.
So for that standpoint, I mean, I've had my issues with street electric motorcycles because... And we were talking about this, Josh. If you have a very specific set of requirements involving length of your commute and, the time and the traffic you encounter, you may find that sweet spot where a large electric motorcycle is the exact right thing for you. But it is quite narrow. And
I wanted to make
riding in the dirt around the forest, I think we're going to see more and more traction, if you excuse the pun, out of the smaller electric bikes.
I wanted to make a clarification because I listed the information incorrect. So there are three models. The third one is the Grom-like, which is not being released yet, but it's potential.
It's down the road.
The two that they're announcing, the first one is a 4.3 kilowatt bike that is $6,500 list price, not getting street legal in the U.S. yet. And then the second one is a 2.4 kilowatt, and that one is the 4,200. So they're two different size trail riding bikes.
But neither are street legal now.
Neither is street legal, exactly. They're calling them trail bikes.
They're basically, Suron competitors.
Yeah.
I think for me, Zero lost a lot of brand loyalty, even when I was looking at buying them, when they put all these components on the bike, but then gate kept them behind service fees.
KTM's doing that too.
Well, yeah. And, but KTM's an established brand. Zero is tiny compared to Pure Mobility.
I'll be honest, I don't disagree with how they did that, but I disagree with how their customer service handled everything. And that's where it kind of blew up.
There's a lot of people that were big Zero fans.
Yeah. I know.
lot of people in the
and they became Energica fans.
Exactly.
But,
So, as an Energica owner, who's obviously a little concerned about the future of your bike, what's your long-term plans with that thing?
I'm going to ride it till the wheels fall off.
there you go.
I have had 0 issues. I've got 30,000 miles on the clock, and it's had not a problem.
So, I mean, basically at this stage, because you've done all those 30,000 miles, haven't you?
Uh-huh.
So it owes you
suspension.
Somebody will buy all the technology.
So really the maintenance is it has a cup and a half of ATF for gear oil for the straight cut gears for the gear reduction.
Right.
And, all the other normal services, chain, tires.
Which are available for anything. And it's got Brembo calipers and it's got Öhlins forks, all of which you can get serviced. And I know they're quite heavy on their front tires.
They're a little heavy, but my front tire doesn't wear out any quicker than any other of my ice bikes.
There's the suspension issue you talked about, Josh.
The suspension, the rear shock is just a little overwhelmed even when it was brand new. And I need to have it taken in and have to put thicker oil in just because it has a little bit of like a pogoing thing on long sweepers. You'll feel it kind of just slightly pogo a little bit up and down.
Right.
So, but that's something you can modify on any bike.
Sure.
It's good tuning.
I think it also speaks to the short range versus long range bikes, though. With the big battery in a bike like that you could see as a characteristic issue where this low cost electronic transportation, it's all over China already. And we're starting to see more and more of it here.
So let's bring it back.
Okay.
Do we care
I think it's the future. Yeah.
that they're coming out with some dirt bikes and
I care that
they're calling it an urban bike?
I care that it's a new electric, but I wish it was more. I wish it was, I wish they'd done some big battery breakthrough. To me, what everyone complains about electrics is
Bagel, are you done stroking
batteries.
now, darling?
Yes. Well, I was just going to add, I'm most excited about the little Grom like.
As am I. I mean, any cost-effective new street bike that potentially gets young people going.
Yeah.
Right. Assuming this is street legal, especially if it has like a 0FX style motor in it.
Well,
that can do freeway speeds. I think that would be.
No, it's going to have a Zhongshan engine in it.
Are you guys familiar with the Death Grom?
No.
Yeah. So the Death Grom was created by one of the engineers at Zero, where he put a Zero like SR battery and motor into a Grom, and that thing would do over 100 miles an hour. Hence the Death Grom. So I think that was part of the R&D for what they ended up developing. So I don't know what that's going to be, but it's interesting.
Well,
so
Liza,
cool.
the counterpoint too, when we did the Misfits rally a couple of years ago, and we were in Hollister and we was looking at the Lightning bikes, and Richard was talking about a sport touring concept.
Yeah.
And it's just, no, because now you're talking about...
He's working on an adventure bike too.
It's going to be tough because now you got somebody who wants to put all their camping gear and go long distances, and right now, that's not the model for electric. Urban mobility, light off-road stuff, I think that's the hot spot.
All right. So now going off of that, on to the next one. Let's see. The next announcement at EICMA, Royal Enfield launched a new electric motorcycle.
Flying Flea.
The Flying Flea. Did you see this, Basil?
Is gorgeous.
Wow.
I love it.
I don't like the name, the Flying Flea.
It's a throwback name. That was an old model name.
Yeah.
There's no information on price or anything, but it is a retro styled. What would you describe that as? It's almost like a SR 500 with a little saddle.
I mean, actually, the finning on the engine is quite cool. It's looking at it close. It's quite the thing. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a city bike for like the India market.
I think it's like it's the Mave, I think. There also has a kind of a retro.
Yeah.
There's other bikes out there doing it, but interesting that it's Royal Enfield.
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard any updates on it in a long time, but I know India passed no internal combustion at a certain CC range years ago, long before like we had the rule in California. And it was going to be like in the 2030s, and basically was going to ban all the small displacement bikes because, I mean, you look at their air pollution in India. And so they were looking at a way to reduce all that air pollution, and that's to get all these high polluting small displacement engines off the road because everyone's has one there. I mean, there's no other way to
2-strokes and stuff.
Yeah,
little stink pods.
So they were looking at banning all the new internal combustions being sold after a certain year.
You know, kind of related to that, in Alameda, you can't use gas powered lawn equipment anymore. And that was the law a couple of years ago. So all my stuff has cords. Yep. It's like, great, because you got all the torque and you got none of the gas to worry about. Let's just do that.
So do we care about Royal Enfield launching electric?
I'm more excited about that than the Zero.
I like this. This looks kind of cool. It's got some nice styling.
Yeah, let's go hard yes on that.
So here's some more news. Honda has unveiled electric motorcycle concept models. Now, these are not planned out yet, but one of them is a big motorcycle-ish thing. The other one, Bagel, I just sent you a link. Did you take a look at what it is?
I am just pulling it up now.
I think you'll be excited.
Yeah.
The battery looks like a dorm fridge.
Basically, Honda has designed the BMW electric scooter.
Yeah, and I was going to say, when I was in Munich over the summer, I had ample opportunity to see a lot of those BMW electric scooters, both in the showroom and being ridden out on the street. And they are quite a statement, let me tell you. Yeah. And this is like... It's almost like Morpheus front, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's very kind of Blade Runner-y to me.
Yeah.
And it's very futuristic looking, very, glitzy sort of, light up logos and lots of gloss plastic parts.
Remember, this is still just a concept. Now, Can I tell you guys why I care about this? Because Honda they've been developing and researching the electric as long as everyone else has.
True.
They've been there testing, following, waiting to strike. It's a lot like when Rossi would just get behind somebody and follow them and just take his time and just take it easy and just draft behind him. And then what would he do on the last lap? Pass him and win the race. Honda, this is what I believe they are doing, which is why they haven't gone out. It's too early, but it's kind of interesting. All these companies are like all priming. But, we heard years ago about Vespa electric and BMW electric scooters and all these companies investing in it, and it was too soon. Honda's waiting, which is why it's a concept.
I think the big game changer is going to be when battery tech gets significantly
power density.
Not a little better. They make incremental changes. It's the same thing they've been talking about for the last 10 years with all EVs.
Oh, God, 20 years. I mean, is it really going to get better? Is it really going to get...
Oh, yeah. If they get solid state, absolutely it'll get better. They just have to be able to mass produce solid state batteries.
But here's the thing. When Honda's in the game, we're there. That's the thing.
Well, Honda's notoriously a very conservative company, so I am inclined to agree with you. But they're both being presented as a concept bike, and Honda are also very, very notorious at saying, look, this is what we can do, don't hold your breath. And I think that's what those two might be. Are Honda ready to pull the plug on both those bikes? Hell no. But they're showing people what they can do. And they can do a lot.
And I think this is significant, like you said, Liza, because Honda has been holding off on the electric market, and frankly, to my frustration a little bit, I wish they'd come out with some kind of electric vehicle sooner. I mean, they did come out with the Micro Compo, or what was it called?
Moto Compacto.
So there is that, but in terms of like street vehicle, they haven't had any electrics.
They'll be the last, Bagel. I guarantee you they will be the last.
But I'm encouraged that they are coming out at least with a concept now, because that's showing that they're moving in that direction.
And I think I had this story correct. So the flagship model for Lightning motorcycles, the LS218, named so because
it does 218 miles an hour,
which they tested at Bonneville. Guess who was there with them watching? The head of Honda. The head of Honda was there at that.
Wow.
They've been there. When I say they've been there, the top guy, they've been there watching what everyone else is doing. So it's interesting. So, but now I ask, do you care? Do you care that Honda's got some?
If they're getting in the game, I care.
I do.
I don't think it's significant.
They're not
enough.
in the game. I think they're teasing.
Yeah, I'm with Liza.
We
on
may
this
not
one.
ever see these models.
Well,
probably not.
But they're keeping their name in the game.
Are we still going to see the 3-cylinder, electric charged motor from them?
Yes. Oh yeah. No, we will. That is a motorcycle. This is Honda saying, look, this is what we can do. Don't fuck with us. That 3-cylinder has got a start date. And the start date's 2026, right? It's got a hard start date. The roadster of that V3.
Yeah.
See? You see the difference. These are just concept bikes, and Honda's saying, look, this is what we can do.
Yeah.
But there's no production dates. That V3,
they're drafting.
Yeah.
But that V3, that will end up in production. I guarantee you.
So how about Yamaha?
Those guys?
Yeah, Yamaha has invested in a French company called EM. Have you never heard of this motorcycle company?
Zut alors! Un sacré bleu!
EM, also known as Electric Motion, makes electric trials bikes.
Oh,
and
cool.
Yamaha has invested in them. They're going in a different direction.
Oh,
high torque, short range. That works for me.
And yeah, because especially for trials bikes, you need all the power immediately.
Yep.
Boom. It's there.
Ça plaint pour moi.
I think that is fascinating, and
the amount of control that you can have with an electric powertrain versus an internal combustion. That's
the weight, but you don't. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Well, you don't need a lot of weight for trials. You're not
exactly
right.
You're not going to be carrying.
May I see that bike?
Yeah, but give me the phone back when you're done.
Well, the nice thing about that compared to gas and trials bikes is you can do all your electric ride modes and whatever else people want to do in a trials concept without having to, put all kinds of linkages and crap.
The only thing missing from this machine is a baguette holder.
So, do you guys care that Yamaha's invested in EM?
I wish they invested in Energica.
All right. How about here's another partnership. Hey, Emma, not that many Americans are familiar with the brand Kimco.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure Bagel is.
No. Yes.
Kimco's been around quite a while. They're one of the big producers in the world.
Yes.
They have partnered with Livewire.
Really?
Yeah, now we're getting interesting, right?
That's very interesting.
We had a bunch of Kimco bikes on our training sites in the Bay Area.
Yeah, and what they've created is, that almost to me looks like a Moto Guzzi Cafe Racer.
No, I tell you what that looks like. That looks like a Dunstall Kawasaki from the 1970s.
Yeah, no, that looks like Italian design to me. It looks really nice.
This is kind of like how you got the floppy disk icon on our computer screens when you want to save a file. I wonder if our stylistic preferences are just kind of a byproduct of what our age and experience is, and whether the next generations will like that or not.
Actually, I'm going to speak to a certain segment of the audience now, Liza, so bear with me. And this is specifically for our British listeners of a certain age. That bike looks like a Suzuki X7 with an FLF body kit on it. Thank you.
It looks cool. But
here's the thing that's interesting. Livewire is the one who helped them develop the electric. It's a Kimco model that Livewire helped develop. Well, who helped develop Livewire? Alta. Which they ended up killing. So maybe this is like the grandchild of Alta.
It could be the bastard stepchild of Alta.
How interesting. But
Yeah.
Now this I like. I'm just gonna say, Scott, what do you like? Do you like that?
It reminds me, I don't know if I like it or not, but it reminds me of the BMW scooter thing we saw.
Well, we were just talking about.
Oh, God.
Now, here's Kimco's electric maxi scooter. I think it looks a little more like an electric ruckus than it does.
It does.
Long, though.
I think it looks kind of cool.
It looks kind of bulky, like it might be heavy. I'm thinking about all these little electric scooters you see on food delivery people, like Uber Eats and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the scooters are the perfect vehicle to be electric because the weight is down low, and you can have all that weight down low, and it doesn't affect it. I mean,
it's chunky. It's chunky.
But that's kind of cool.
It's chunky.
Bagel, would you buy one of these Kimco scooters developed by Livewire?
Maybe I'd have to check it out. Try.
I don't think you've ever really been a ruckus
fan. You were just hot and bothered
you? About
you were ready to pop on the Honda.
It all depends on the performance and you know what it can do. But
what about
but I'm
this
interested.
model?
I'm very
I already
interested.
looked at that.
Bagel, did you see this model? Let me tell you, that's no Benelli dong.
No,
it's
that's interesting.
It's less of a bike for it. It should be a Benelli dong.
No, I think it's very interesting. They're developing some very interesting things with Kimco and Livewire.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's expanding the Livewire portfolio.
Right.
Do we care?
Sure.
I mean, not a lot of people ride Kimco's here, but I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's certainly a different kind of partnership.
Yeah, I'm holding off for now.
Okay, fine.
I don't think that one is news as much as the other ones are news.
Okay. Well, that wraps up Do We Care? But now we have to get to some emails because there's some big emails here. Bagel, you have one there to read?
And then, I've got a couple.
And then Emma, you're on deck.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to read both of them, Bagel, or just one?
Well, Liza, do you want me to read them both?
Start with one.
Okay. So I have one from Brandon Allred.
Hello, Brandon.
And Brandon says, before I start, I want to give Bagel a little challenge. I want to see what sort of accent he will give me based on the places I have lived in alphabetical order. Afghanistan, Alaska, Florida, Germany, Illinois, Kentucky, North Carolina, Vermont, and Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
Well, this is really not fair because I don't know where you grew up. So
you should ask him, what's your drunk accent?
I'm guessing that a lot of these were probably military stations that were stayed at for a bit. So I'm gonna guess that he's from Illinois. So we're gonna go with Illinois.
Okay.
So he starts, huzzah, motherfuckers. I recently inherited my grandfather's bike after he passed this summer. It's a 2008 Honda VTX 1300T, basically the Honda version of a Road King. My current focus is getting all the maintenance items up to date and figuring the fueling issue. Turns out it had a slightly bent needle. It's a great bike and completely original, but some things are just not my style. For instance, there is a lot of chrome and plastic chrome that is in desperate need of polishing. I'm pretty sure I'm the only person to ever wash it, and that was in 2013 after an epic Christmas trip to Key West with my mom, worthy of its own email. I'm trying to figure out exactly how far to take any changes I make to the bike. I want to both have the bike feel like it's his, but also make it my own. I'm definitely going to do things to adjust the controls for my comfort and safety. Maybe I'm looking for justification. Maybe I'm looking for limitation. Maybe I'm just reaching out. What are your opinions on how far to go or not to go? I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer. I'm just curious as to what the opinions of the group are, though. Thank you, Brandon. P.S. My cousin is Brian from the Moto BS podcast.
Hey.
I'm so glad that y'all keep giving him shout outs.
Shout out. I'd like to weigh in on this. So basically the question is, he's got his dead grandfather's bike, and it's not really his style, and he wants to know, can he change it? So I'm going to share a little story. This happened during World War. There was a woman in New Zealand who reached out to us. She was our ambassador there, Jenny. And she said that she had a Harley sitting in her garage that she had yet to ride. She'd never ridden a bike that big, and she was really looking for a reason to really push her to get herself out there to ride this Harley. This Harley was given to her by her son. It was his bike. And as he was dying from cancer, he lowered it, moved the pegs, adjusted the bars, made all these changes to the bike so it would fit her and be her bike. And then he died and left her the bike, and she hadn't ridden it yet, but she rode it during World War. Well, and she feels like every time she rides it, she's with him.
Right.
And he adjusted it to fit her. So you can make your grandfather's bike fit you, and he'll still be with you.
Absolutely. And when it comes to modifying a bike, the sky's the limit. There are no rules with this. Just make sure the modifications you do are safe. And if in doubt, reach out to your peers, reach out to us, reach out to your workshop manual. Don't do anything unsafe. But hell yeah, make it your bike. Because the best bikes are your bike. That is the best bike. Yes, Bagel.
Yeah, and I would say,
Are you done stroking again yet?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you.
I'm all finished.
Okay.
So my thought is that if this is a bike that it means a lot to you because it was your grandfather's, and you want to keep it, you want to hang on to this for forever, right? Definitely set it up for you so that you can ride it, obviously. But what you do with it is really how you want that your relationship to be with that bike.
Oh, I mean, if he was a pain in the ass, then don't change anything.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
No.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you want to preserve the bike the way your grandfather had it as an homage to him, by all means do that.
Yeah, but I don't think he wants to do that.
I don't think you need to.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is that if you think that there are ways that it could be better, or maybe some things that you had talked about doing with your grandfather on the bike, that you'd never got to doing, or if you want to just take it in a different direction, that's all up to you.
But the point of my story is, I think your grandfather would want you to make it yours.
Right.
Most likely.
And it's going to be this beautiful, hybrid, this beautiful mongrel that's your grandpa's bike and your bike, and they're all going to be mixed together, and it's just going to be like you and him are riding down the road together. And it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I want to hear all about your road trip to Miami with your mom. So you better write in again. Tra-la-la.
Okay.
I've got a perspective on it, Brandon. If you want to ride this bike in memory of your grandfather, do the modifications that'll make you want to ride the bike.
Which means probably getting a friggin' rattle can of flat black over all that chrome will start.
All right. I've got 3 emails here.
3?
In succession.
You said I'd be up.
Yeah, I know. I'm taking it back. Because they're all related.
Oh, are they really?
In fact, they all have the same title.
Are they kissing cousins?
Do you remember our topic last week?
Yes.
What was it?
Muscle bikes.
That's right.
Oh,
These are all titled Muscle Bikes.
Are they complaints?
Well, let's find out, shall we?
Okay.
First one comes from Christopher. He says, "What's up, Misfits?
Christoph.
I am a proud owner of a Honda Magna, not the legendary V65, but a 1988 V45 model that was
still a great bike.
Only made 2 years.
Yes.
With the 4 upswept pipes.
I know.
Still considered a muscle bike, but matches more of the kind of muscles I have rather than what Brad has.
And I agree with that.
I don't have Brad's biceps, and I don't have a gym in my garage. Rather, I teach band and orchestra at an elementary school in Connecticut and play the penny whistle and a kilted Celtic folk band called the Jolly Beggars.
Penny whistle muscles.
I'm sure Brad doesn't know what a penny whistle is, and if he did, I bet he'd stuff my face in a toilet for playing one. I got into this bike because it was the bike offered to me by a friend when I was looking for my first bike. I didn't even know what a carburetor was, let alone a muscle bike. Didn't run, rusty tank, and needed lots of love after sitting for 14 years.
Good Lord.
But I learned how to fix it up little by little, and I love it. And by learned, I mean I did stupid shit like flush out the tank with muriatic acid outside in my yard during a thunderstorm. Smart. She's a beauty, and for a 750, she rips off the line with gusto and gives me the V4 tingles. I've lusted for an older VMAX, but I'd probably opt for a V65 Magna if the time ever comes to upsize.
I got to tell you, I think that's a better looking bike than a VMAX.
I'm going to show you the picture, and there's a PS there. I'll let you.
Oh! Look at that thing. That's great. P.S. I just ordered a couple of Mimi and Moto books for my 2-year-old Merlin. I'm getting the little one excited so I can give him my bike someday. Merlin's Magna. Looking forward to celebrating your 600th with you. Look at that beast. Great looking bikes.
Nice. All right. Next one. Muscle bikes. This one comes from Jason from Ontario.
Jason.
He says, hey, Misfits, what is the difference between a muscle bike and a power cruiser? You mentioned the Vulcan S was not a muscle bike, and I would have to agree, but what about the Vulcan Custom? I test rode both before buying the Custom, and the acceleration on the Custom was so much faster than the S. I've attached a couple images of a Custom just for visual. So, Emma, what do you think is the difference between a power cruiser and a muscle bike?
No, the cruisers.
There you go.
No, the cruisers. And I'll tell you what makes that a cruiser. Step seat, cruiser styling, swept back bars. It's a cruiser. It's a fast cruiser, but it's a cruiser.
There you go. Emma said so.
Because I said so.
You get to make a declaration just like I do about Jeeps. Okay. This last one, Muscle Bike. This one is from Keith. He says, hey, Misfit. Keith! I really enjoyed the Muscle Bike podcast this week. My up-the-butt bike is a Combat Motors Wraith, an often forgotten muscle bike. But I think you were right about the customer base for these bikes with a focus on muscle cars. But I have a surprise twist for you.
Oh?
Let's play a game. Guess who? Guess who is the muscle bike guy? Clue 1. In the wide open, you know I'm there way before you see me. Any guesses? Any guesses? No? Okay, clue 2. Ring ding, getting warmer. Clue number 3. I have a sandwich in my pocket.
Oh, two-stroke guy!
By now you know, right? That's right, it's Two-Stroke Man! Yes, Two-Stroke Man is also the muscle bike guy. We need that two-stroke power band type punch, that instant rush of a bike trying its best to throw you off while you grit your teeth and hang on. Two-stroke for dirt and trail and occasional hooliganism, but trade that for a muscle bike when we're ready to roll. Same guy, same thrill. 2 options, both grounded in the 70s. The old two-stroke guys know engines. They know how to work on them, and they love them. They have a few hot rods laying around, and they love their muscle bikes. Thanks for the great podcast.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that.
This is interesting. I never knew Two-Stroke Man's name. Now we do.
Brad.
It's Brad.
It's Brad.
Brad Two-Stroke Man.
All right, Emma, what you got there?
I have one here from Jonathan Wolfer.
Hey.
Hello, Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan Wolfgang. Ahoy, Misfits. I was listening to podcast 598, and I heard Miss Emma mention the Harley Nova. My wife and I toured the Harley-Davidson Museum back in the summer of 2023, and we saw the prototype they have on display. Below is a pic I took of the bike, and there it is, looking exactly like...
I've decided it's uglier than the Pacific Coast.
It
moves the Pacific Coast up the scale for me.
Up the evolutionary scale.
That's a low bar.
Pretty.
The museum was well worth the detour on that trip that summer and wasn't what I was expecting. The racing, the history of the museum was on display, was amazing, and made me wonder, when did Harley stop focusing on the strategy of win on Sunday, sell on Monday, and turn its attention to the hog lifestyle it lives by now? Probably when it started losing, Because, if you wanted to win on Sunday back in the 40s and 50s.
Did that Harley, the VR1000, sell them any bikes?
I don't think so.
Do you think the Baggers Racing is selling them bikes?
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
They figured it out.
And the Hog Lifestyle is by now. And for the record, Jonathan owns a great selection of bikes. He owns a 2009 Nightster. Oh, you could be a Nightster as well.
I'd take that name.
You could be the Banana Nightster. He bought it brand new off the dealer floor, put 96,000 miles on it so far.
Wow.
He's also got a 2012 Dyna Switchback, picked up 4 years ago, now has 43,000 on it. I mean, this cat's a rider. And he bought that with 15,000 on it, so he's just done under 30. He's got a 2001 Suzuki Sauvage.
Oh, yeah, Sauvage.
Which is the Sauvage, which, of course, is the 600 single.
S40, they call it now?
Yeah. And a 2004 Aprilia Futura.
Ooh.
Which, I mean, if you want to talk about the only real competitor for that Interceptor.
Yeah.
The Aprilia Futura was kind of it.
Yeah.
Very edgy styling.
Mm-hmm.
Except you have to wait a lot longer for parts for the Aprilia.
Yes. I'm always reminded of Dieter. Do you remember Dieter from Saturday Night Live?
I know.
Now's the time, but we dance.
Yeah. I think, and his sprockets. I think Dieter would probably ride an Aprilia Futura because, like my friend Klaus, it is angular and beautiful. Anyway, meanwhile, I'm proud to say that all four are running. That is remarkable when you've got an Aprilia, and have been ridden over the past month here in New England. Just not as much as I'd like with the weather turning and a newborn at home. It's got a new baby. Also, the Motorcycle and Misfits neck gaiter makes for a great baby swaddle. Pictures are enclosed. And here is picture of my wife standing with our 6'8" brother-in-law who requests to ride the Sporty whenever he is in town. So anyone saying a Sporty is a girl's bike or isn't for tall riders, they might want to keep them to themselves around him.
And Emma, before you turn the page, this is why I gave you this email, because I think you're going to get a good laugh.
Thank you for all that you folks do to another 600 episodes, Jonathan Wolfer. So we're going to turn the page.
There it is. There it is.
The baby looks like the Pope. And probably the tallest person I have ever seen. Oh my God. This guy's a freak. And
I'm just imagining he needs knee pads with chin rests on them with that seating position. Of
No, he makes it work. He makes
it work. He's sitting on the thing.
Yeah, we'll pass it around.
Yeah, pass it round.
Yeah, pass it around.
All right.
So, Bagel, I want you to do yours, and then we'll go Josh and then Scott.
All right. I've got an email here titled The Antipodean V-Rod.
What?
Peter Cox.
You better get round here with a tire iron, Peter. I got a motorcycle stuck up my ass.
He writes, Misfitters. I was amused to hear Miss Emma talking about Brad, the muscle bike owner. I can report that in Australia, V-Rods have a couple of nicknames. They're called Nike bikes because the guys riding them are almost always wearing lace-up sneakers, which is where the Nike part comes from, with track pants and a singlet or T-shirt showing off muscles and
It's Brad!
More racistly, V-Rods are also called lab sleds because they are often ridden by gentlemen wearing gym gear and sneakers who look like they're from a Mediterranean adjacent country. I don't endorse it, but I'm just reporting it.
Okay.
So, safe to say, the V-Rod is a very niche bike here. There's a custom outfit here called Dark Side, which I thought meant running car tires on your bike, but they do V-Rods. You can see some big-wheeled V-Rods here on Insta, V-Rod_Australia. Cheers, Peter in Sydney.
Emma, would it be bad if I refer to Raymond's bikes as Leb sleds?
Oh, God.
Be bad.
Is that bad?
Yes, please do not.
No,
Okay.
don't do that. No.
Okay, that's why I'm
No,
asking.
and I should point, he apologized before he even
Oh,
said
you're
it.
right. I should just refer to the Vespa as the Leb sled.
There you go.
Okay. All right. What do you got there, Josh?
Oh,
All right, I got an email from Billy. Billy titles this helpful tip for Jim. Cashing in on my newly appointed status of honorary member of Emma's Army, I wanted to congratulate Jim on his decision to get a Helite E-Turtle 2 vest.
Yeah.
I have no affiliation with Helite, but I'll offer that I've had mine for over a year now, and it's an awesome piece of mind addition to my gear. I suggest that Jim also get their new fork sensor to complete the safety equation. It's a significant reduction. It significantly reduces detection of impact time overall, and it's uniquely provides detection at slower speeds and when it stops.
So because a lot of people use the tether, which you are already in motion.
Yeah, it won't deploy if there's a tether, but I believe Jim says his is not tethered. It's the one with accelerometers.
Oh, okay.
But vests with accelerometers don't tend to track anything below 15 miles per hour.
Yeah, so it seems like this fork sensor will get you before you're in the air.
Yeah, so Billy writes that this will detect slow speed and when at a stop, which the e-Turtle doesn't provide natively. Install is easy, and it is a set and forget piece of safety tech. For $150, it's a no-brainer IMO. Stay safe, Jim. Billy, JK.
And sound advice from a member of Emma's Army.
There you go.
I think if anyone can afford an airbag vest of any nature, it's a good piece of safety kit.
Yeah.
So
They're becoming more and more common.
Zach and I both ride daily with the Climb.
Oh, that's what you're wearing right now?
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
I thought that was just a fashion statement.
Oh, no, I'm protected even
because
in here.
it doesn't look bulky like it would be an airbag vest.
No,
Zack is protected from me. If I make unwanted...
We all need that protection, Emma.
Yes. If I make an unwanted advance, he will inflate. He will inflate like a puffer fish.
A chastity vest.
Now Zach is turning red.
Good thing I'm not on camera.
All right. We've got one more, and it's a long one.
It is.
So, Scott, I've asked you to paraphrase it. Who's it from?
This is from Wallace Boss. Thank you,
Wallace.
Wallace,
Hello,
for
Wallace.
sending this in.
Oh, I know, Wallace.
It's quite a manifesto. So you're commenting on a podcast dialogue about staggered riding formation.
Yeah, for you guys who didn't know, I had done a little research on standard staggered riding formation and found that there is not a standard. No one has announced a standard. No governing body has.
I think we actually have comment on it in the state motorcycle safety program appendix, part that's not taught in class, but about group riding as an after thing. So there is some document.
Yeah.
So anyway, Wallace is commenting on that in safety talks before kick stands up, a lot of people are just like, oh, let's just fucking ride. And they don't want to talk about this. And so it's assumed people know how to do it. And Wallace mentioned several hand signals that sometimes get covered, like tapping the top of the helmet. I think I'm going bald. And other things, pointing at the gas tank. Mine's bigger. Whole new meaning to riding with a GSA, right, Josh? So let's see here. So basically, Wallace is going on about and the signals and erratic moves appearing because you don't know how you're supposed to ride at a group, what the proper stagger is. And the people who want to try to hold their place, and then the people like, oh no, somebody changed the stagger, like a rider cuts out of the formation to block an intersection or something like that. And everybody behind them switches left and right in this massive swerve. So let's see. Wallace is saying, last summer, one of the assumed roles, he tested it behind an unnamed longtime fellow rider. The group of only eight riders or so, finished a break by the side of the road, pulled onto the highway, took less than 200 feet for the following to happen. Rider number 1 went arcing left up over the bridge, the overpass. Rider number 2 disagreed and went right onto the on-ramp for the interstate. Everyone directly behind had to, in that instant, scramble for who was the new leader.
Oh, jeez.
Fire drill. Oh, rider number 2 is more correct in where to go, and had planned the overall ride, but not the immediate route. And so after 30 minutes of separation, they found each other at an exit 12 miles away.
Wow.
Oh, rider number 2 did not understand why everyone didn't follow them. Obviously, a misshapen rule for the books, and who has to spend the rest of time reliving the tales about this. But apparently the gorgeous scenery was worth it. They all got to their destination. They were really lucky they found each other, and everybody in the group thought they knew the rules. Thank you, Wallace.
I think I was on that ride.
I think we've all been on that ride.
No, I think I was on that actual ride.
Okay.
Yes.
Were you rider number 2?
No, good Lord, no. But I know rider number 2.
But yeah, no, it goes back to, I still think nobody's really laid it. Here's the rules, and what do you do in this, or what do you do in that? And I believe that MSF or Total Control or whoever, it should be taught. Yeah. Somebody should be teaching it so it does become more standardized.
It's the point of an actual safety briefing. And one of the nice things about being involved in clubs as compared to just a motorcycle and collaborative or a pickup group of friends.
Yeah.
And, but the counterpoint to that is we have so much information to teach a new rider.
Yeah.
I think if you go to an MSF class, the focus needs to be on teaching you how to stay alive. And then when that person determines if club riding life is one for them, whether it's with a very, very informal group or a group like the Oakland MC, which you're part of, the onus comes on either the ride leader or the motorcycle club you're involved in to flesh out the details.
Yeah.
Well, Cal CMSP took that approach. They said, we have this many hours,
right,
10 hours on the bikes and like 9 hours in classroom to teach you all the things. Mm-hmm. We're going to focus on how to operate the bike, how to do it safely, and how to survive situations on the street. And then at the very end, they said, here's more information you can seek out when you're ready.
Yeah.
Right.
See the
and
appendix.
It was basically that much. And they give you a link that you can go and download this huge Dropbox file with tons of stuff on all sorts of other things.
And that's a great idea because there's so much to know when you're riding a bike. When you first start riding a bike, I want every single second, every single minute, every single hour of MSF or Total Control training to be devoted to keeping you alive on that bike.
Yep.
It's like if you go to Motorcycle Mechanics Institute, they don't teach you how to fix bikes. They give you the basics. You get out of college, you're like deer in the headlights, and then you do like an internship at a bike shop, and they teach you how to fix bikes, and they teach you how to work on flat rate. And it's kind of the same with being out there on the road. You've got so much of this information to absorb. You can't possibly absorb it all in one go. So you do enough to keep you alive and keep you safe, and then you just add to that information. And I think you have to be the kind of person that's willing to take on board new information and say, I've been riding now 1977, 48 years next year. 2025 marks my 48th year riding motorcycles, and I learn something new every day. Because there's so many variables.
Yeah.
Mine was 1978.
Beat ya.
Oh.
Well, this is why Lee at our workshops too for instructors, he'd always have us, okay, now you get on the dirt bikes, now you try Can-Ams, now you're doing a slow ride course like cone exercises like the CHP would do or something like that.
Well,
we're going to be in the go-kart. Yeah.
Strawberry and chocolate.
I never tasted them, but I suppose,
Hey guys, can we end this show now?
Only if you want to stop talking about motorcycles.
Hey, can you put a bike in that?
Can we, before we leave, you promised to tell us all what Jim has done to his truck.
Right. So he has a Toyota pickup truck.
Yes.
Only like 70,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
He believes his transmission, something went wrong with the transmission.
Oh.
So he actually didn't do anything. He was way out in Jawbone, out in the desert, and a bunch of things came on, warning lights, and he was able to limp it to the visitor center, where he was able to call a tow truck to come get him.
No.
He is stuck in Bakersfield, waiting to go to the Toyota Center tomorrow to find out what's wrong. And the first thing I asked him is, did you get the extended warranty? And he said, no, it's a Toyota.
Yeah. That's going to be $10, $20, $30, $40,000, please.
Don't know. So yeah, the truck was, I don't know that he did anything to it.
Was it making ugly noises or anything?
I don't remember those details, but so poor Jim, he's trapped in Bakersfield.
Oh, poor Jim.
And we're waiting to find out.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm like, did you check the level of the fluid?
No, you can't. Modern automatics, you can't check the level or anything. They're sealed.
So yeah, so remains to be seen. But that's where Jim is.
Thank you for letting us know.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
And I wanted to say thanks to you three for sitting in, being misfits tonight.
Pleasure to be here.
Anytime.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, and sharing your opinions.
I've really enjoyed Zack's vest.
All I know is that it works. I've tested it.
I just can't. I keep picturing him as a pufferfish.
No, and I mean it really works. You know, with the yellow lettering and the green of your shirt and the nice dark jeans, it works, darling.
You know, Emma.
You know, it
has an inflatable collar to prevent him from getting a hickey from you too.
Hickey
You
from
know her
oh
so
my
well.
God.
Okay.
You don't want a hickey from Emma, because when I'm done, you know, there's like chunks of veins hanging out and fleshy stuff and bite marks. It looks like you've been savaged by a great white, but a very small one.
Sucked into a turbo.
So I would like to hear from you guys out there. I want your opinions. What do you care about? What's the latest news? Do you care about the new Zeros? Do you care about the updated DRZ? Do you care that Royal Enfield's going electric? Let us know what you think.
Do you care about your hair care routine? I mean, let us know all the details. I'm feeling quite nostalgic, Liza. Do you realize this is our very last 500 and something episode?
Wow.
Yeah.
What a road it's been. My God.
Yeah. Well, next week, the 600th, we've got quite a few people signed up to join us via Zoom. And I'm just going to say it might be a shit show. I don't know how we're going to do it. But you know what? I'm relying on, Emma, that just when we get a group here, we can just get into a banter and just have fun and talk.
No, you know
and
what?
And then even it doesn't matter how many misfits are joining us. It's just going to be the same lively conversation.
It's like, when is it not a shit show?
And Liza,
yeah,
you'll be very happy to know I have an appointment to get fiber optic internet installed at my house this week.
Yeah.
If all goes well, I will be on fiber optic internet for our 600th episode.
Yay! That's big
Congrats.
news.
But thank you everyone for listening to us for so long. It's been an amazing ride for me, and I think everybody else. This is a wonderful journey for anyone to be on. And love your bike and keep loving your heart. And we'll see you all next week for the 600th.
And go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com.
Those guys, they'll
there.
rot your brain.
And send us your emails at Scott. What's the email?
I don't email you. I just come down here.
motorcyclesandmisfits@gmail.com. See how easy that was.
And don't forget to subscribe to Spankers Weekly.
And
bring it back to motorcycles.
Send us an email and let us know how tall your stroke is.
Include pictures, please.
No.
Yeah.
Do not. It just reminds me of the time. Thank God you weren't here then. I just had this brilliant idea. I thought it'd be fun to check and see how many cc's every guy in the garage was packing.
Okay.
And we did a measurement and fluid displacement test thingy. Yes, it was very interesting.
Who won?
Well, what I found out is that
I know your balls are always the biggest.
A lot of people compared themselves to the Ninja 250.
God.
But the RPM, it's
small
all,
but mighty.
There you go. And I don't know that there were any big twins.
Fair dues, then.
All right. On that note, thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next week. Time to get out of here. This is Liza.
This is Scott.
Emma, darling.
And Zack.
Josh. Bagel.
Oh, there he is.
And we are out of here.
Cool. He was stroking.
Oh, my God.